Ah, Mr. Holmes.
Hopkins.
Thanks for coming so promptly. Inspector Lestrade suggested that I call through to you.
Mr. Emery was the client of Mr. Holmes, Inspector.
Indeed. You didn't mention that when I telephoned you, Mr. Holmes.
Well, not exactly a client, Inspector. Sergeant Thompson?
He was killed between the hours of 11 and 2 o'clock this morning, Mr. Holmes.
Must have been someone he knew, someone of whom he had no suspicion.
Poor old Stinky. It's all my fault. I should have prevented this.
Well, there's no time to start talking about that now, Doctor.
Apparently it's gone. That's the second attempt on the musical box that Emery bought at the auction sale. And this time it was successful.
But that box was only worth £2.
It was worth a man's life, Watson. I think we'd better pay a visit to Gaylord's auction room and that fellow Crabtree. Inspector, may I suggest that you make a complete search of this flat for a small, plain, musical box about that size? Thank you. Come on, Watson. You say the first box went to Mr. Julian Emery. The second to Mr. Kilgore, 143B Hampton Way. And the third to the unidentified young lady who presumably has a shop and lives near Golders Green.
That's right, Mr. Holmes.
Isn't it rather strange, Mr. Crabtree, that you should have had 3 identical musical boxes all playing the same tune? Where'd they come from?
Dartmoor Prison.
Dartmoor?
Yeah, we get a regular shipment from there every month. The inmates manufacture them. Well, they make all kinds of things, you know, pipe racks, wastepaper baskets, musical boxes.
Did you happen to notice if anyone showed any particular interest during the auction in the purchasers of these 3 boxes? Oh, come now, Mr. Crabtree. This is very literally a matter of life and death.
Well, since you put it that way, Mr. Holmes, there was a gentleman came in here about an hour after closing time, and he was in an awful state, he was. He gave me £5 to tell him where the boxes had gone to. He said they had a sentimental value for him, sir.
Expensive sentiment.
Can you describe him?
He was tall, distinguished looking, and he had grey hair and a moustache. Oh, he's quite a gentleman, sir.
Now, what was his reaction when you were unable to supply him with the address of the young lady who owned the shop?
I told him the young lady usually come back on Thursday. He said he'd come back on Thursday. Now, that's tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. You've been very helpful. Thank you. Come on, Watson.
Where are we going now, Holmes?
The home of Mr. Kilgore, the man who bought the 3rd box.
But hang it all, Holmes, how do you know those other 2 musical boxes are of any importance?
I don't, but I certainly have no intention of waiting until the owners are murdered to find out.
No one at home.
I hope that's the explanation.
I'll have a look through this window. Doesn't seem to be anyone there. The whole place seems deserted as far as I can see.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Kilgore at home?
No.
When do you expect them?
Oh, in an hour or so. There's no use your hanging about. They don't buy nothing from peddlers.
Peddlers? My good woman, this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes? Oh, go on.
Do you mind if we come in and wait? My business is rather urgent.
Well, I've got to go out and do my shopping. And I don't know as Mrs. Kilgore like any strangers nosing about.
Quite all right, I assure you.
Well, I've got to be off. You two wait in the parlor. And no smoking either. Mrs. Kilgore says it smells up the house.
Funny old girl, Holmes.
Park Lane.
Park Lane? And what would the likes of you be doing in Park Lane?
Now, don't worry about the fare, Ducky. If you knows how to get to Park Lane, up it.
You know, Holmes, I've been thinking. There must have been something hidden in that box of old Stinky's. Stolen jewelry, possibly. What's up, Holmes?
Listen.
What's just the steam in the water pipes?
Watson!
Great Scott! Come on, Holmes. Get on the chair here.
All right, my dear. There. Now, don't worry. It's all over.
There you are, dear. Don't cry anymore.
She tied me up and shut me in the cupboard.
I know. She won't come back. Did you show her your new musical box?
Yes, she said she wanted to hear it play, and as soon as I showed it to her, she grabbed hold of it.
I know. Now, don't worry. We'll buy you a new musical box.
Yes, my dear, the best one in London.
Watson. Oh, what a fool I've been.
What do you mean, Holmes?
She took the musical box out of this house and that market basket. Right under our very noses.
Why could the Kilgore charwoman want to take the music box?
She isn't the Kilgore charwoman. She's a consummate actress. An extremely clever, unscrupulous woman who will stop at nothing. Take care of the child, will you, Wolf, till our parents get back. Explain everything to them.
Of course I will. But, Holmes, where are you going?
Somewhere, somehow, I must get to the young lady who bought that third musical box before our opponents find out. I only hope that I won't be too late.
Oh, no. No, darling, you mustn't cry anymore. Now, cheer up. Would you like to hear old Uncle make a noise like a duck? Oh, sorry.
Next, we have a real museum piece, ladies and gentlemen. A fine 19th century doll. The costume an exact replica of the holiday clothes worn by the Hungarian peasant women. Now, ladies and gentlemen, an article like this would cost you from 15 to 20 pounds in a West End shop. I'm not going to ask you anything like that. We'll give me £2 for it. £2. Does anybody offer me £2? £2 for the Hungarian? £2? £1. What? Anybody give me £1? Anybody offer me £1 for the doll? £1 is offered, ladies and gentlemen. £1 is offered. Now, I'm not going to waste your valuable time or mine in trying to get one half of what this beautiful doll is worth. If the young lady can steal it for £1, that's her good fortune. So it's going once, it's going twice, the third and last call. Any more? Sold to the young lady for £1. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I draw your attention to something which may be a great surprise to you, worthy of any collection. The only other one like it is in the British Museum. It's a Ming vase of the 7th dynasty. This vase lay in a large collection somewhere outside Rome for over 2 centuries, I understand. It was discovered there by the noted antiquarian, Sir Andrew Coppleston. Now, some of you may remember Sir Andrew Coppleston. Besides being a noted traveller and antiquarian, he's also a gentleman rider.
A girl with a parcel in her hands, that's her.
Are you sure that's the girl?
Well, she fits perfectly the auctioneer's description.
Follow her, Hamid.
It's lovely, dear.
And only £1. We can get at least 3 for it.
Easily. I'll go make some tea.
I could do with a cup.
Right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm looking for a birthday gift for a 7-year-old girl. What would you suggest?
We have some lovely dolls. Now, this Hungarian
I think she has enough dolls already.
Books are always welcome.
Well, I'm looking for something a little different.
Oh, that's rather cute. What is it?
Oh, that's a musical box. Children always love them. And this is an exceptionally nice one. It plays many tunes.
Have you any others?
Yes. If you'll just step this way. I have only 2 left.
How nice. Are you sure this is all you have?
I'm sorry. They're rather hard to find, you know. That's our entire allotment. I did have one other, but I sold it earlier this afternoon. But it was only a plain wooden one. It wouldn't have been a very nice gift for a child.
Really? Do you happen to know who the purchaser was?
Why, yes. He left his card, just in case anyone should inquire for him.
How interesting. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to look a bit further. Thank you anyway.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
heavy!
All of that cab.
Here, now, what?
Scotland Yard.
Hop in.
Sherlock Holmes. I might have known.
We thought we were the hunters, instead of which we're the hunted.
We've been fooled. We played right into his hands. Of course. He's had us followed. Don't look. The man in front of the toy shop. Hamid, turn sharp right at the next corner and again at the next.
No photograph of her, Commissioner, as I expected. She's not a known criminal.
But how do you expect to know if you do find her? After all, she was disguised as a charwoman.
Don't worry, old fellow. If I ever see her again, I'll recognize her.
Well, it won't be long till we know who they are and from where they operate. Who's covering them?
Sergeant Thompson's following them, sir. They won't get away from him. He's a good man.
We could have arrested them at Clifford's toy shop if we had any proof.
But we know that they killed Emery.
Proof, my dear fellow. We must have proof.
We have x-rayed it, sir. There's nothing whatever concealed in the box.
We'll have a look at the plates.
There must be some clue. And it's probably so obvious that we've all overlooked it.
Seems to me we're up against a bunch of lunatics.
Not lunatics, my dear fellow. Extremely astute, cold-blooded murderers.
Well, what can these little musical boxes have in them that's so important? Don't forget, they were made in Dartmoor prison. You can smuggle stuff into prison, but not out.
You want us to break the box apart, sir, to see if there's anything the x-ray hasn't caught?
No, not yet.
Do you mind if I take it?
Certainly.
Thanks.
The governor of Dartmoor Prison informed us, sir, in answer to Mr. Holmes' question, that all 3 musical boxes were made by the same convict, John Davidson, serving a 7-year term, sir.
Davidson?
The Bank of England plates.
That'll be all.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting somewhere. Wait a minute. How did you know about the plates, Mr. Holmes?
I'm a student of crime, Inspector. I make it my business to know about such things. And when the name of Davidson was mentioned...
Well, who is this fellow Davidson?
As long as Mr. Holmes seems to know all about it already, I suppose there's no harm in telling you. 2 years ago in London, there occurred a robbery of such tremendous importance, although the stolen articles themselves have no intrinsic value whatsoever, that the Home Secretary was instrumental in seeing that not a word of it appeared in any newspaper.
But you never told me anything about this, Holmes.
You were away at the time.
Articles of no intrinsic value and yet of such importance? I don't understand.
Davidson was apprehended within 15 minutes of committing the theft. But by that time, he'd hidden the articles in question and they've yet to be found.
Before going further, Dr. Watson, I must inform you that this matter's not to be mentioned outside of this room.
Of course not. Do I look like a man who'd gossip?
Let's not go into that now, old fellow, shall we? Davidson had been employed for years in a position of extreme trust by the engravings department of the Bank of England. The articles he stole were nothing less than a complete duplicate set of plates for printing £5 notes.
What? The Bank of England's own plates?
Precisely. And with those plates, a gang of crooks could flood England with £5 notes, not forged in the usual sense of the word, but notes undetectable from genuine Bank of England notes in any way whatsoever.
Good heavens.
Any whisper at all might have resulted in enormous damage in shaking public confidence in the Treasury.
We tried everything after we arrested Davidson. Offered him a shorter sentence if he'd tell us where he'd hidden the plates. Why, we even put in Scotland Yard men with him as cellmates, but no results.
Obviously, Davidson's a man of strong character and infinite patience. Yet suddenly he feels impelled to smuggle out the secret of the hiding place of the plates to his confederates. Why?
I don't understand, Mr. Holmes.
Well, for example, has the Bank of England made any plans to radically change the design of the £5 note so that in, say, 7 years from now, notes made from the stolen plates will be worthless?
Confidentially, Mr. Holmes, such a move was discussed. But replacing all the £5 notes in circulation would be such a Herculean task that nothing's been done about it as yet.
I see. Of course, there is another possible explanation. Davidson didn't have much time to find a hiding place before he was captured. He may be afraid that the plates will be accidentally discovered before he's released. Hence his anxiety to communicate their whereabouts to his confederates as soon as possible.
I believe you've hit it, Mr. Holmes.
I'm sure that the message is contained in this musical box. Or rather, in all three musical boxes, since possession of all three seems to be essential. Our opponents have 2/3 of the puzzle, we have 1/3.
Well, what are you going to do, Holmes?
Try to deduce the message from the 1/3 that we have. It's the same tune as the one played by Emery's musical box. And yet it's different.
Sounds the same to me.
The tune. Somehow the tune is the key to the mystery. It must be the tune. Otherwise, why use 3 musical boxes to convey the message? Why not collar boxes or shoe boxes?
Yes? Oh. It's for you, Inspector.
Oh, thank you, sir. Inspector Hopkins speaking.
What?
Where? Golders Green Station reports they've just found Sergeant Thompson's body. From the tire marks on his clothes, he was apparently run over by a taxi.
What an unfortunate accident.
Not an accident, my dear fellow. I'm afraid it's murder.
Oh, you never know just who you're going to meet when you're walking down a busy London street. Mrs. Hawkins, Mrs. Brown, any subject of the crowd. Oh, you never know just who you're going to meet. So you better hold your topper in your hand, just in case you meet a lady on the Strand. Girls will think you're kind of sweet, and your day will be complete. Oh, you never know just who you're going to meet. Now a gentleman is judged by his appearance. Yes, a gentleman is judged by how he talks. Now he's much better off when he's acting like a toff, especially if he's taking him a walk.
What on earth is this outlandish place?
A rendezvous for actors.
Actors?
Buskers, old boy. You've seen them 1,000 times. Actors who entertain the queues, waiting outside theaters.
You never know just who you're going to meet when you're walking down a busy London street. So you better wear your best, hold it high to look your best, 'cause you never know just who you're going to meet. So you better keep your manners right in view, just in case a lady gives a how'd you do. Keep your trousers in a pleat, shine your shoes and keep them neat, 'cause you never know just who you're going to meet.
Blimey. Mr. Holmes.
How are you, Joe?
Never met him. And yourself?
Fine, thank you. I want you to meet a friend of mine, Dr. Watson, Joe's sister.
Oh, well, any friend of Mr. Holmes is a friend of mine.
Hi, Joe.
He did me a good turn once that I'll never forget.
Yes, I cleared Joe of a most unpleasant charge.
Murder, no less.
Oh, really?
By proving to the satisfaction of the police that he was busy at the time blowing open someone's safe.
That's right, Governor.
Good gracious me.
Joe, now you can help me.
Come on, buzz off, buzz off. Come on, up it, up it. Can't a gentleman have some peace and quiet around here? And you too. There you are, Mr. Holmes. Now we can have some peace and quiet around here.
Thank you, Joe. There's £5 in this for you.
Well, I wouldn't want to take it on myself, sir, but I can get somebody to do it for you for half of that.
You don't know what the job is yet.
For £5? Murder, ain't it?
What?
No, Joe, not murder, just music. I want you to identify a song for me.
Oh, there ain't a song that's been written that I don't know.
That's why I came to you. Of course, the violin is more my instrument, but, oh, well, here we go. Now, listen to this, Joe.
You're playing that wrong. That should be E natural, not E flat.
You know the song?
Oh, yes. It's an old Australian song called The Swag Man. But you're playing it all wrong.
That's what I hoped you'd say. Now listen again, Joe.
That's the same tune, all right. But you're making different mistakes than you did the first time.
No, not mistakes, Joe. Call them variations. Here, play the song for me, will you, the way it's written.
There you are.
Thank you, Joe.
What's it mean, Holmes? You onto something?
Perhaps. I don't know yet. It's probably a code of some sort. Joe, could you write the song down for me, the way it was originally written?
Oh, sure, Mr. Holmes. But it'll take a few minutes. Here, Mabel. Pale ale. Come on, up to it. Along with it.